you chat?
Always.
Hey there.
Howdy, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good. Feeling very springy, which I can appreciate. Spring has sprung.
And you know what I can't appreciate?
What?
Like I said the other day, wind. Wind.
You can appreciate
Can't.
it? Oh.
Can't. I hate wind.
Yeah. You had a very windy wedding.
We did have a very windy wedding.
Tell us about it.
The surprise wedding went off without a hitch, I would say.
I'd agree. Hitchless.
People were shocked.
As they should be. It was a surprise.
Gagged, as the kids say.
I did
Gagged
see that.
and what?
I don't know.
Gooped and gagged?
I've never heard. I've heard gagged, but I've never heard a follow up.
Oh, okay.
Just gagged. I'm a little behind, I guess.
I think people, when they got there, were like, wow, this is like a fancy engagement party.
Extravagant. Yeah, it was beautiful.
But maybe they were like, because we were kind of saying they're not going to have like a big wedding, so this is really
The thing.
the thing. But no, people were shocked. There was always some people who were like, I knew it after. And it's like, okay.
But like, why say it?
But also like, really? You knew it?
But even if you knew it, that just irks me. I always hate that when people are like, I knew it. Like, cool. Just keep that to yourself.
That is literally not something I would ever expect. Like if I went to like a party that was like way more extravagant than I ever expected, I wouldn't be like, what's the meaning of this?
What's going on here? I mean, I'm sure some people kind of suspected because not like a lot, but it was beautiful. It looked extravagant. TikTok surprise weddings have been happening. So maybe they saw a TikTok. But again, no one needs to know if you maybe thought.
What's crazy is that I don't have a TikTok. And so I thought that I came up with this idea on my own.
Maybe it had like seeped into your brain from somewhere, like a reel.
I don't even really watch reels.
Like subliminally you heard about it, or maybe you just I'm of the mindset that there's no original ideas.
Everything's an archetype.
Yeah, like everything just comes in waves.
Is that the right term?
I don't know if it is or isn't. It sounded fine,
Okay.
but I just think like maybe you subliminally heard about it, or you simultaneously came up with this while other people were coming up with it.
Yeah, I don't know. Anne Marie had heard of it. She was like, yeah, I've seen like that before. Not anyone we know.
I'd never
So
known
it wasn't
anyone.
so like crazy to her.
Yeah, I'd never known anyone. Just people on the internet.
People said like, oh, we didn't know you were going to get married here. We thought maybe you were going to announce that you already got married.
Oh, that would be kind of a bummer, don't you think?
Like, yeah, and this is our wedding and we've already been married. Like, who cares about that?
And we didn't get to come? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I obviously knowing it was fun to like watch people learn, and people were shocked. I saw shock.
There's a lot of good pictures of
People being like,
people's like, holy shit.
yeah, I think the majority, I would even say 90% of the guests were shook. Even if 10%
Had a feeling.
had a feeling, you still don't know.
And I think just like the vibe was like people were just like excited to celebrate, and
For
then
sure.
like when there's something like even more exciting happening, like wow. And the staff at the venue was very
In tune.
yes and super nice, and like the coordinator was like, I'm gonna give everyone a heads up, like all the waiters and everything, like the like everyone. She was like, I want to give everyone a heads up because they want to be out here to watch when he gives the speech that they're going to get married. Like they want to see everyone react.
excited.
So like all the staff was really excited.
Oh, that's cute.
It was cute.
I mean, it was really fun. Like the vibes were high from the beginning, even when people thought it was just an engagement party. So when you're starting at a high point, you can only soar.
So yeah, it was an exciting time. They're married, the newlyweds.
Woohoo!
And
The
There were-
pics were cute. The pics she sent me were super cute.
that she posted.
Yeah. Like so, like the shock in people's faces, the joy.
Yeah.
I'd call it a win.
It was like insanely windy, beyond windy, like blowing away. But it's okay.
No one blew away.
No one blew away, but I was saying, I was like, the worst part about wind is that like it's deceiving. Like it makes it seem like you can take pictures outside. Like it's sunny.
Mm-hmm.
But you actually can't. It's essentially downpouring.
I don't know if that's a comparison.
Because like your hair is blowing in your face. There's like particles blowing into your eyes.
Yeah, wind is a deceitful bitch, but I don't think it's comparable to rain. It's just its own weather thing. Like,
but like in terms of taking photographs outside.
Yeah, it's treacherous, but it's not like if it's downpouring, you come in from the wind, you're unscathed, maybe you fix your hair, but like you go in the downpour and you're soaked and you now need to
your hair is fucked from the wind.
I saw all of you after. Your hair was not fucked.
We had touch-ups.
Well, neither here nor there. The pictures didn't look windy. I knew they were windy, but they didn't give windy.
Okay, I mean, you had to wait for like the 2 seconds of availability where it wasn't a tornado.
And I will say I'd prefer wind over hot.
No.
Like when it's so hot.
You could just be outside 10 minutes outside and then still air. Just let it be still.
Still or sparkling? Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you that wind can be very misleading, but I don't think it's comparable to rain.
Do you know what's kind of crazy is that then after people were like, this was such a cute idea, I want so-and-so to do this. And then it's like, yeah.
Well, you can't, that's the one thing about it. You can't start doing it in a friend group. Then everyone's on to you.
But also like, okay, that was like their thing. And then it's like, oh, and then blah, blah, blah did the same thing. Like, oh, fuck off.
I feel differently about copying. I feel like it's flattering as long as I'm the one being copied. Like, I don't mind if people do the thing that I've done.
It just makes it like, then it's something a lot of people do versus like when they did this, no one had.
Like if someone came to me and were like, we're getting married at the Ritz in Paris because we loved your wedding, I'd be like, go off, queen. Like mine is still special as fuck.
And invited all the same people.
That would be really weird. I can't think of someone who has all of the same people in common, but a couple, if there was some crossover, those people might be bummed. Like that's an expensive
trip. Yeah, we're
trip
like, Jesus, another one of these.
But I don't think it would impact my feeling about the specialness.
Le Ritz Paris.
I just think that like arguably be more special. Like someone wanted to do it.
No, it's so flattering. Like people are like, oh, I'm going to do this too. But it's like, I don't know. It was just weird that they were coming up. People were saying that night. It's like, all right, we're here at this one.
And also you can't.
It's like if you're at someone's wedding at the Ritz, then you're like, I'm going to have my wedding here. You're like, okay.
Cool. The hard thing is like a surprise thing. You really can't keep copying because people are onto you.
Yeah.
Like surprises need the art of mystery. And like once people have already done that, less mystery.
And then there were a couple people who eloped. There were people there who just like eloped and had no one. And then they were like, welcome to the surprise wedding club. And it's like, no, that's not the same either. This is something very different and special.
It's unique. Okay. Fuck off.
I'm sorry. You just like picking up and getting married somewhere else. That's not a surprise wedding.
Yeah. That's an elopement.
Something else. A planned, what are people saying now? A planned elopement?
That's what I was calling my wedding, and you said I couldn't.
Because it wasn't.
It's leaving the country to get married, but planning it.
That's called a destination wedding.
Yeah, I don't know. You really did not enjoy that phrase.
A planned elopement. That's like a oxymoron. I think elopement is
on the whim.
Means surprise. Let's look it up.
I don't know. There are a lot of different ones, but the last line of this one says, today, elopement can also refer to a small check.
I'm sorry, the last line of this one. What comes up first?
No, it's the first one. It's
on
like
Merriam-Webster.
It's what AI has generated for the definition.
Merriam-Webster, the definition of elope.
But it says, let me just read you the sentence.
Oh, okay.
Today, elopement can also refer to a small, intimate, and intentional wedding ceremony, often celebrated with a small group or just the couple.
The first
that was
two of elope on Merriam-Webster: to run away secretly with the intention of getting married, usually without parental consent. To run away from one's spouse with a lover. 2, to slip away.
I mean, we stopped using it. We started calling it a destination wedding. A very small destination wedding.
That is exactly what it is. A planned elopement is extremely confusing. I don't know where you heard that. You thought it sounded chic.
I didn't make it up. I think someone told me that's what it was. But whatever. Either way, we didn't call it that.
That person was fucking with you.
We called it a planned, a small destination wedding.
And it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful. But I'm so happy they're surprise wedding. And there's all types of wedding now. It used to be like weddings. They were one thing. No more.
Again, I think it has to be unique to the couple. Like, not everyone can do a surprise wedding.
For sure. You have to be excited about what that means.
Right.
And if you're not, don't do it.
Then do not do it. But no, the couple was right. The vibes were right. Everyone was happy. High times.
I'm so thrilled.
So,
Love it. So I'm assuming you saw that the astronauts returned.
oh, I did. Yes.
I'm so happy
They were
for
like
them.
supposed to be there for like 8 days,
8
but they
days.
were gone for like
200
months.
and something days.
Okay.
Like, whoopsie. I kept thinking, like, technically this is like a work trip. Like, can you imagine you go to like a work dinner or a work trip that's supposed to be an hour and you end up being there a month?
With just one coworker.
It's like, what? Like, no.
When people want to do like anything long with their coworkers, it's like, that's kind of how I feel about like when you like win like a
Sales trip.
a trip, and it's like, and then you can come on this trip with all these people from work. Like, that's not a prize.
I think it's
Send me on a trip with my friends or family.
I think it's different. I 100% agree with that. Like in corporate America,
And then they have all these activities. It's like, and then there's a dinner every night with all the work people. Like, oh, good.
I was hoping so. What's different is like I work with literally 3 other people, 4, but 3.
So you'd be pretty psyched if you want a trip.
I just mean like we already spend an insane amount of time together. We've like really crossed the boundaries of professionalism.
Yeah.
And I was joking the other day with someone, like, I started at this job being an event planner when I was 22, and like I'm gonna leave in a body bag. So I don't even really know what a true coworker is.
A coworker.
Like I don't have a coworker relationship. Like my quote coworkers are like,
Yeah, you do.
yeah, no, I agree. There's like people that are colleagues who I work with who aren't part of my like intimate company, who I guess would fit that bill. Not
That's
really,
what a coworker feels like.
but yeah, like traditionally, I'm not really sure what that's like. Like my coworkers like came
Are
to
people you say love you to on the
yes,
phone?
like they came to my house to throw me like a birthday breakfast. Like
That's not
that's not the norm in
norm.
America,
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, I digress. So the astronauts are home. So my icebreaker is if you were going to the mission, you're an astronaut for 8 days, and they were like, hey, we're pretty sure it's going to be 8 days, but there are some kinks we're working out. It could be 8 months. What are the 3 things you would bring with you to space? Can't be people, can't be dogs.
It can't be anything living.
It has to be like they can't just survive.
I can bring anything.
Yeah.
Your phone. Like you have access to
Well, you have a
FaceTime?
phone there and like video messaging. This is NASA, y'all. Like,
I just mean like,
yes, you could. I'll pretend in this world it will work, but like you have that sort of technology. I'm more thinking like your red light mask, your like creature comforts.
So you have like TV
You
and
have
stuff.
food. Like you're going to the space station.
Okay.
I'm not really sure on the TV situation in space.
Well,
It's satellites, so I would assume you have it. But like they were able to, one of the astronauts said she talked to her mom every day.
so like you're like, you can bring 3 things, but they're not like the, everything that you already would have.
Yeah, like you have clothes, you have everything else. Like it's like skincare routine, it's photos, it's a blanket that you like, a pillow that you like, a robe that you like things
Okay, I
that
actually
are like,
hate robes.
Yeah.
So no.
I wouldn't bring a robe either.
I hate robes.
I don't have any sort of like vendetta against robes.
I just like I don't want to like walk around in a robe and then it's always coming open.
I've yet to find the perfect robe. I am on the hunt because I like a robe, but
You do?
I do, but I've
I've never even seen you in a robe.
because the perfect one doesn't. I own like 3
Well, why do you keep buying them if you don't like them?
because I always think like this is the robe. Because like I like to shower and then like put comfy clothes on before I get dressed, like while I'm getting ready.
Me too. It doesn't happen though.
Anywho, we're losing the plot here. What would you bring to space? Do you want me to go first?
I guess, yeah.
Okay. So I would bring, I have 4 things. So I'm trying to like bring it down a little. First, you're going to laugh at because I'm not the most avid reader, but I think to get me through 8 months, I would need it. I would bring my Kindle, which is my husband's secondhand Kindle, but I would bring my Kindle because like I'm assuming the TV satellite is not great in space.
But like, does that not count on your iPad?
What do you mean?
Like an iPad, like for like watching shows, reading books.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I'll bring an iPad.
Oh, okay. But I'm saying, is the iPad already there? This is a confusing icebreaker.
The iPad is not, it's, think of it like a spaceship. Like you don't have your personal iPad. This isn't like 8th grade through public schools. Everyone doesn't have their own smart device.
Okay.
But like you have the phones that you would use to call and things like that. Okay. I'm going to make it really easy. iPad, one of my Barefoot Dreams blankets to sleep with every night. And I don't use one here, but I think having like a skin mask or something, like a face mask.
After seeing what the astronauts looked like when they landed?
Just like, I don't know what that sort of gravity is going to do to your skin.
We do
like,
know now.
A really good skincare routine.
Those people looked
haggard.
Weathered.
Haggard.
Okay, yeah, I'm bringing my iPad then because I can do books and everything on there.
Yeah.
It's a one-stop shop. You don't have an iPad, so you can't bring one.
Well, I'll bring Tyler's. He has one.
See you in 8 months. Good luck without an iPad.
You'll get a new one.
Do slippers count, or are those there already?
But you can't walk in space.
Oh, fuck.
You just can't float. Have you ever heard of space before?
No, I'm sorry. You don't float inside. It's depressurized.
You don't walk.
Yeah, you do.
No, you don't.
How do you get around?
You float.
No.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Right.
No, there's like a thing that makes it so that you... How do you sleep?
You float. Like they literally can just like close. That's why they came off on gurneys. Because they aren't used to like walking or sitting or standing.
What?
The show you're referring to, For All Mankind, is not real. The reality of space is that there's no gravity.
No, I understand. I thought when they get to the space station, it's normal. When you see them having meetings, they're not floating around above a table.
You've seen them in meetings other than scripted shows.
On For All Mankind.
That is not real. No, in space, astronauts do not walk on the floor like people on Earth do. They float around inside their spacecraft. This is from BBC as of June 2024.
How do you eat? In midair?
Yes. There's no walking.
I'm not buying it.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't need my slippers apparently. In your weird world.
Okay.
How do you watch a show? You just lay there floating?
You're always floating.
Okay. I don't understand. So, but they show them sitting at like the thing, eating dinner.
No one in real life has shown that.
It's not real on the show?
No.
It's a very well done show.
It's a beautiful show.
Huh. So you're not ever like still?
No. She was saying when she was speaking to a school, like she was forgetting what it felt like to lay down or sit or walk.
Okay, then. Guess I don't need my slippers.
I mean, I guess you could wear them just on your feet.
For warmth.
Yeah.
How does her shirt stay down?
I don't know.
I mean,
we've gone to the, like...
You definitely don't want to bring a robe.
We've gone to the end of my knowledge. But...
You're like, and I brought this really comfy robe and it just flies up.
I don't know. That's a good question. I have no answer.
I thought you knew everything about space.
So just this little bit, which is, I thought, common sense.
I thought they do something so that it's like normal inside.
Your ass watching For All Mankind, you're like, this show is so realistic.
It is so realistic. Do not tarnish the show's
No, it's beautiful. It's
grand
a great show.
reputation.
Yeah, it's a great show.
Okay, fine then. I'm gonna bring. Well, why do I need a pillow then? I'm not laying on anything.
Right.
This doesn't make any sense.
All right, scrap this icebreaker.
Does my weighted blanket mean nothing there then?
Think it,
Because it's weightless?
Yeah.
I was gonna bring that too. Everything I was gonna bring means nothing to me in space.
I have some info for you. Don't be an astronaut.
I don't want to. When I think about outer space,
It gives you a pit.
like the biggest pit of all pits, like I don't want to leave Earth.
I don't understand the desire. You know, like when you're a kid, people will be like, I want to be an astronaut when I grow up. I'm like, you're nuts.
Did you watch the show Paradise?
No, but I'm going to. I heard it's really good.
It's good.
Is it? Okay,
Yes.
good. And you hate Sterling K. Brown, don't you?
Oh, okay. No, I actually like Sterling K. Brown.
You
I
hated
hated
him.
This Is Us.
Yeah. Okay. Understood.
And I was able to look the other way because this is a totally different concept. And it does have like a couple little peaks of This Is Us qualities,
Okay.
but
You were able to push on.
I was able to look past it.
We'll get into it.
That is a about the earth sort of.
Interesting.
But no spoilers.
I'm going to absolve you of this icebreaker because I think perhaps it required just a basic understanding of space, which neither of us really have. So,
Well, don't talk badly about yourself. You obviously know a ton about it.
I guess.
Space expert over here.
I didn't know. So why don't you just go ahead and tell me something interesting?
Now I'm sitting here thinking, like, what's the point of bringing anything to space? Nothing matters, apparently.
It doesn't.
Okay, I did really quickly just want to show you the side-by-side comparison of you with Jason Kelsey as a baby.
I don't see it.
Are you kidding?
I'm serious. He's massive.
Aside from that,
Like, where do you see it?
in the entire face, you have the same one.
I mean, well, he turned out really great looking, so.
I saw this picture last night and I was like, Joe?
Wait, is it Travis or Jason?
Jason.
No, they're both cute.
Oh, well, they're both cute. Okay. Oh, here's an interesting story. People are saying that separation in the home can be the key to a happy marriage.
Okay.
They're saying that more and more couples are divorcing each other at home, and that's
Explain.
what keeps them happy. So some of them are getting a sleep divorce where they sleep in separate beds.
Oh, I've seen this, yes.
Some of them are having a bathroom divorce where they use totally different bathrooms. This article talks about interior designers and real estate agents who were asked about it, and they said that it's more and more common now when couples are looking at homes or designing homes that they bring up how they want to have a totally separate bathroom from their husband. Not like, so let's say you're building a house from the ground up, not like master bath and then there's like two.
Wash closets, like toilet rooms.
Yes. Which I have seen.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
This is like people are like, oh, I'll use this bathroom, they'll use this bathroom. Or when they're looking at buying a house, they're like, okay, you could always use that bathroom and I can use this one.
Yeah.
Or they'll say like, you know, master bedrooms, they want two of them because they don't sleep in the same room. And apparently this is becoming much more common than people talk about.
I mean, I don't want to like yuck somebody's yum. Like, if that works for you in your marriage, God bless. I don't have any like strong opinions. This sleep one for me doesn't make 100% sense. Like, I don't.
That's because if Tyler was like, I don't know if we should share the same bed, like you move too much and you're too chaotic, and he went to sleep in another room, then you'd follow him to that other room. And he'd be like, this is not the point.
But like,
Get away from me.
I don't understand the point of not sleeping with your spouse for me, personally, at all. Ever. But if that works for people, there's no judgment. Like, everyone has their own thing. That one is weirder to me than the bathroom, but also weird to me. Like, I think part of marriage and like partnership too is like respecting each other's space. So I never think it's weird. Like, I remember when Tyler and I were first moving in together, you and I had this conversation where I was like, I want to make sure that there's like a space because he works from home all the time and he has like video games. Like, I wanted to make sure that he had a space, and even in our current house, he has an office / like den I go in there very rarely. Like, that's his space. But I also think you're supposed to manage a household respecting each other's habits. And so, like, if you're never really forced to share a bedroom or a bathroom.
But you didn't go in there rarely.
And where?
The tiny little space that he had in your first apartment.
We had like no space in the apartment. So in our house, I very rarely go in
He
there.
had like a desk shoved in a corner and a TV and a couch, and you were always on the couch.
We had a very small first apartment.
You had other places to sit, for sure.
Just the living room.
Or your own bedroom.
I think if you're not sharing a bathroom or a bedroom, you're not really
Why are you married?
Well, like, you're not really learning. Like, there's shit that I do that annoys Tyler and vice versa. And like, part of communicating is being like, I don't like when you do this, or this is annoying when you do this. And so if you're never given the opportunity to like compromise and talk about what's bugging you, like, oh good, we're never annoyed with each other, but also because we share zero space, I don't know if that's authentic.
I think like the bathroom thing I kind of get, especially like if your bathroom didn't have like 2 sinks or was like, you know what I mean? Sometimes like when you're watching House Hunters, it's like the master bath is just a bathroom in the hall, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like 1 sink and it just looks like a regular bathroom. That's hard to share. Like,
For sure.
you have a lot of stuff as a girl.
In our first condo, all of Tyler's stuff, because it wasn't a double sink, all of his stuff was in the other bathroom under the sink, because there's only 1 sink.
Didn't he shower in there too?
Showered in the other. Not 100% of the time, but a lot of the time. So I guess we didn't share a bathroom then, but that was like that exact example. Our current house has like double vanity. I would find it strange. It's like built for 2 people to share.
Right.
That to me would be weird if we didn't share that bathroom.
Yeah, Mike and I didn't share a bathroom actually
Right.
in our first townhouse. But that oddly was a master bath, 1 sink.
Right. Like, I don't think it's a never do it thing, because I think it's strange to design a home
With separate things.
with separate bathrooms. Like, you have the advantage to make it as big as you want, separate toilets if you want, double sinks, 1 shower. Like, to me, it's like you've really committed to having separate bathrooms when you're designing it from the ground up.
I don't get, I mean, I guess I don't get, like, why do you, like, if you have such a big bathroom, why do you need separate toilets? Like, in case you both really have to go at the same
And
time?
don't you have other toilets in your house?
Yeah, just if that were to occur, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
You have enough money to be designing a bathroom from scratch with 2 toilets.
It feels very
You probably have
Lucy.
another bathroom.
Like, Ricky and Lucy never shared a bed.
That was back in the day.
Yeah, I don't get it. I also, and I've seen, again, TikTok, there's a lot of people who say they don't share a bed or a bedroom. That is the weirder of the two to me. Like, don't you want to just like crawl into bed with your spouse at the end of the night and like watch a show?
Yes, for sure. I think those people in this article, at least, they're saying like we do everything, like we watch TV together, and then at the end, one of us gets up and goes to sleep in another room. It's like for sleeping only.
Okay, so
Probably because like they're a really light sleeper or whatever. Someone else is.
if it works for you, you should do it. I can't relate. The bedroom to me is weird 90% of the time.
Yeah.
But again, I love to give opinions, but no judgment. But weird.
I think the bathroom divorce is like I don't care. If you don't want to share a bathroom,
Yeah,
sure.
I don't really care about the bathroom. But like, okay, so you guys have separate bathrooms, separate bedrooms. I'm assuming he has some sort of like hangout space at that point once you've given each other these 2 separate rooms. So like, are you spending time together in the living room? Or like, your space does not feel shared at that point to me is what I'm saying. It's like more roommate vibes. You've now just created these weird zones in the house that's like, oh, that's my husband's room. Like, why can't you go in there? Well, it's his. Why? I don't know. It doesn't vibe for me.
But you're not someone who wants like, you know, a she shed.
I don't want a she shed. No.
You don't want your own space at all. You're like, we could be everywhere together.
No, it's not that. I just don't need dedicated space. Like, my space can be wherever. Like, if he's playing games, I'm laying in bed. That's my space. That's my she shed.
I also don't need a she shed because I just want to lay in bed.
You love your own space. You would totally have a she shed.
My she shed is my bed.
My she bed.
That's my she
Yeah,
shed.
that's what I'm saying. Like, my own space can be anywhere.
I'll make it my own space when I lay in bed and turn on my own show.
Yeah. I don't understand the desire.
People are saying it leads to happier. I think maybe if you're thinking about, if you're getting really annoyed with your partner, try one of these things first.
Yeah. This is the answer.
Don't just end your marriage
Get your own room.
or your relationship.
So that's our take. But go off, queens. Have you seen all the backlash that the remake of Snow White is getting, the live action?
So the 2 main stars don't like each other, Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot.
I mean, I've heard that, but beyond that, it's just getting like roasted.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't seen that.
Well, first of all, it's just taken forever to make because there were COVID production delays.
Oh,
Then
they started this during COVID?
there were strike delays.
Jesus.
Then Gal Gadot had pregnancy issues that delayed reshoots. So it's kind of been like coming and coming and coming. So one, I think it's like people are losing interest.
This wasn't meant to be.
Like this wasn't meant to be. And now people are like really annoyed with kind of a lot about it. Some of which I agree, some of which I do not agree. But the first thing is like there's this whole push to remake all of these movies, and people are like, why are we remaking every single fucking movie? Like, is there not like an original script to be had? So that's number one. Number two is, and this is where I'm curious what your take is. People were like, how are they going to reimagine the dwarfs in a more politically correct way? It's a fairy tale.
How are they going to reimagine them? But they are
Dwarfs.
I don't think you're supposed to use that word.
In the
In the movie.
like they are, it's like a fictional, there's also no princess.
So they don't want them to cast little people?
They didn't, yeah, they wanted it to be like a whole different concept. I guess there was one version a couple of years ago that tried to make them like kung fu fighters.
So who did they cast as the dwarves? Are you looking that up?
I don't know.
Oh.
It hasn't come out yet. So their whole thing was like, people are like, how are they going to take this on? Like the dwarfs were called Sleepy, Dopey. Like they weren't called anything controversial.
Right.
But people are saying it's the like snow woke movement.
I feel like maybe Dopey might be controversial. Like, what do you mean?
Is he smoking dope? Or is he dumb?
Is he dumb?
So people are really not having it.
The Dopey community is just
Well, that's what I'm kind of saying. Like, I
clapping
understand,
back.
like, dwarf is not the appropriate term for little people. But the world did not operate. It's like there were probably in Lord of the Rings, where they're not like beings that could have been considered controversial if they were in a real world. Like in Cinderella, her fairy godmother is a rat. Like these are not real worlds.
Yeah, okay, good point.
So people are calling this the most cursed movie of the year, which is a feat after all of the drama around It Ends With Us.
Yeah, wow.
But
But this is a new year.
it's a new year, a new curse.
Uh-huh.
So the gist is creative issues kept the film in limbo. Its budget went over $270 million, which was more than anticipated. There was some controversy because Zegler had been publicly mourning Donald Trump's 2024 electoral victory on Instagram, which like who the fuck wasn't? And so she had to apologize for that. People were up in arms that they, which I thought was fucking nuts, cast a person of color in Snow White.
Oh my god, okay.
Which like,
Well, we're really, I mean, like the movie stars' political views, it's like, okay, I can still enjoy the movie.
I don't really give a shit. And then as you alluded to, there were issues with Gal Gadot being pro-Israel and Rachel Zegler being pro-Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
So all this to say, they might have a situation of It Ends With Us on their hands.
It's like, I do still really like the movie What Women Want. But Mel Gibson.
I actually haven't seen that in a while.
Ever?
I know I've seen it. I'm trying to think the last time I saw it years.
Oh.
It was a great one though.
That was like a classic rom-com.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
But I could probably look past it to watch the movie. I'm not going to his book signing.
I wouldn't recommend that, no. So it's got like lukewarm reviews, but they spent a fuck ton of money to reimagine this fairy tale, which has already been told, to a lot of controversy before people have even had the chance to see it, which I don't think bodes well.
I saw Rachel Zegler on, I don't know, like Kimmel or Fallon the other night, and she was performing something from the movie.
Oh.
Did we realize that Snow White was a musical? There's songs in it? Or is that a new thing for the movie?
I think most of those Disney movies had songs, but I don't know if they were musicals. Like Lion King.
That's a musical.
Is it?
There's so many songs.
But like it was a cartoon.
Circle of Life.
I think every Disney movie
Just
came
Can't
with
Wait
like
to
a
Be King.
soundtrack. Right? Am I crazy?
No, like Beauty and the Beast had songs. Like you remember like the movies for the songs. I don't remember Snow White's songs.
Snow White was low-key my least favorite.
Yeah, it was scary.
I didn't like
and
it.
I think it was like the first major one.
It was creepy. She was passed out. I didn't enjoy that as a child.
Oh,
I pref-
even then you were aware of consent?
No, it wasn't consent. It was like, why won't she wake up? I preferred my Disney princesses alive and awake.
What isn't that kind of a theme? There was another one who needed a true love's kiss.
They're all fucking creepy. Like Beauty and the Beast, Stockholm Syndrome. She's obsessed with the Beast. He kidnapped her.
All right.
Cinderella, abused by her stepmother.
Yeah, that's not good.
Give me another one.
Aladdin.
Never saw it.
I've never seen Aladdin.
Never.
Okay, Pocahontas.
Let me think.
Like that
I
feels
do
like a
love that
musical.
soundtrack though.
Yeah. Musicals. Snow White.
I don't know. All I'm here to tell you is people are not hyped, but I do kind of want to go see it just so I'm in on all the news, because it took me forever to go see It Ends With Us, and then like by the time I saw it, there was too much drama.
Yeah. Apparently there are songs from the soundtrack, which was the movie was released in 1938. I think Hi Ho.
Hi Ho. Hi Ho.
Yes.
That's
okay.
all the dwarfs.
And Whistle While You Work.
Oh, Work It. I'm just kidding.
Is that the one that goes, we ain't gotta go to work?
Work. Yeah, that's what from 1938. That was a remake, actually.
Okay, no, there's songs. You're right. No wonder it was so creepy. It came out in 1938.
Yeah.
You're right. They are all Pinocchio. They all have songs.
They're for kids. Kids love songs.
They do love songs. Speaking of kids, there's some local kid-related news that I wanted to discuss. So this story came out a couple days ago and happened in Deerfield. So a student from Shepherd Middle School, which is where I went to middle school,
Okay.
said that she was forced to change clothes in front of a transgender classmate in the locker room. And this story now has gone to the school board and as well as the U.S. Justice Department.
Wow.
So let's tune in. The mother of the student who, quote unquote, was forced to change in front of a transgender student says, "This is my daughter's story and the story of many other young girls who have been forced at the difficult age to do something they know and most adults know is wrong. Gave these girls their locker room and bathrooms back. Allowing biological males to access girls' locker rooms sets a dangerous precedent that erodes the very foundation of female privacy and safety." Another representative who's with a trans advocacy group said being a middle schooler is such a tough time in your life, and to use your child to push your own agenda, to use this situation to harm another kid who all they're trying to do is change to go to gym class is insane. No one's stripping in front of anyone. Like, you're changing into your gym uniform. Okay. So, a Democrat who represents Deerfield in the state legislature addressed the issue during an Illinois General Assembly session after it was brought up by another state rep. So this is like really making the rounds, saying he said, "I'm proud of my community who stood up for those who need to be defended and protected, making sure that we have great schools," which we do, by the way. We have incredible schools and incredible families. We're sensitive to the privacy needs of all of our middle school students and ensure that no student is required to change into a gym uniform for physical education class in front of others. Meanwhile, the mother of the student, Nicole Georges, who I will put on blast, has the support of Central Illinois Congresswoman Mary Miller, who is urging President Donald Trump to revoke all federal funding for Deerfield School District 109 for what she called radical gender policies. I have so much to say.
Go ahead.
So I don't know if the locker rooms have been redone since I was in middle school, but there are stalls. There are bathroom stalls in the locker rooms. It's a few bays of lockers, so you can change in front of other people, or you can go change in a stall. There are also showers. Like, if you don't want to change in front of somebody, go change elsewhere. No one's forced to change in front of anybody. Number one. Number two, your kid comes home from school and says, this trans student, I don't know their name, was changing in the locker room today and it made me uncomfortable. And your first move is to do something to attack that student.
Right. Go to the school and say, like, can we encourage kids to change in the stalls? Not even for this specific situation, just middle school can be a tricky time and everyone doesn't feel comfortable changing in front of each other.
Well, there aren't enough stalls. There's only like a few bathroom stalls. Encourage who to change in the stalls? Why should the trans person have to change in front of the stalls?
Everyone. Like, my kid felt like they had to change. Like, I don't even think this is a trans issue. I think kids in middle school sometimes can be weird changing in front of one another. So can the teacher make an announcement? If you'd like to change in a bathroom stall, they're over here. Just a reminder to everyone in this group, there are stalls.
Why can't you just say that to your daughter? Like,
You can,
okay.
but I'm saying don't make it about the trans student. Just say, like, you should remember, and maybe as a friendly reminder to it doesn't even need to be aggressive. Shooting off like just a, hey, my kid, I think it might be just a middle school thing. Might be nice to remind the kids they don't have to all change in front of each other. Cool.
But they obviously don't.
Right. I'm saying she's trying to make it a political issue.
I just feel like it's like infuriating.
I'm hesitant because I think a kid should be able to say, trans or not, that they feel uncomfortable doing something. Like,
sure.
Without any sort of negative recourse. Because I think that's how a lot of random shit, I'm separating this from the trans issue. I don't think this is related at all. This is a separate thing. That is how bad things happen to children, is because an environment of like secret keeping and like, don't tell people this and feel weird about this happens. So I think open and honest communication with your kids is
Your
top
kid
tier.
comes home and says, kid A, who is trans, is changing in the locker room and it's making me uncomfortable. And you're the...
You're asking me?
Is that what you're saying? You're the parent?
No, I'm saying like you, not even the trans thing. You want to make sure your child feels comfortable coming home and telling you anything that makes them uncomfortable. Kid A said this. Teacher A said this. I didn't like doing this. Like, you want your kid to feel comfortable expressing discomfort with you. So I get that. And maybe this kid really did. But all you have to say back to them is like, I'm sorry that made you uncomfortable. Was there somewhere you could have changed that was a little more private? And you know what? I don't know if it's necessarily about so-and-so kid, because I understand they maybe used to be a boy, but they've transitioned, and have a conversation with them about that. But if you just aren't comfortable changing in front of people in general, that's okay. Here's an option.
I just feel like it honestly has nothing to do with being trans. Like, being trans is so confusing to the, like, it's like offensive to the crazy conservative community.
Sure.
It's like they're offended by it, which is like, what do you care?
Totally.
Nonetheless. But I just feel like this trans student in the locker room
Doesn't give a fuck about your kid.
doesn't give a fuck about your kid and is like probably just like, fuck, I don't want to change in here either. Like, this sucks.
Totally.
Like, it's a shitty situation for a lot of people because middle schoolers are not
worst.
emotionally equipped to handle anything like this.
Like, I remember being uncomfortable changing in the locker room, and I did not have any trans students in my class. It was all cis women in my class, and I remember hating changing because at the time, which is crazy because I have huge boobs now, I had smaller boobs than all the other girls. And I was like, fuck, like, when I change, my non-boobs will be out for the world to see. So, like, it's just a shitty time. And then you add the complication of trans students, like, all of the things they're going through and the trials and tribulations of just, like, trying to be themselves.
I don't actually remember, like, I feel like I was always wearing a cami.
I wore, like, like a training bra because I didn't have real boobs yet.
But I feel like when we were in middle school, like, camis were really in. So you, like, didn't take off your cami. You just, like...
I wore a uniform.
Oh.
So I wore, like, a training bra under my polo.
Oh.
And then we all, in middle school, wore pants, like khakis.
I feel like everyone wore, like, 17 camis.
So we couldn't, like...
Didn't you layer your camis?
It was the look on the weekends. You'd wear, like, different layered camis.
That's what we wore to school.
You couldn't wear that. I wore
Okay.
a polo tucked into pants. And I'd wear, like, a training bra.
I was just gonna say, I feel like I don't even really remember changing because I had on a cami.
Remember I went to St. Joe's in Kenosha. And I remember being like, this is so annoying. Like, I have no boobs.
Please.
And I think I prayed myself into this big boob situation.
You really did. The Lord heard you.
Yeah, he was like, okay.
I just think when you really think about like what's like the things that are out there to like maybe make your kid uncomfortable, like what if there's girls who are gay in the locker room?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. When I came home and told my mom, if I told my mom, she would have been like, is there somewhere private you can change? She wouldn't have been like, no more changing in the locker room. Like, she would have been like, okay, this is a you thing. You're feeling uncomfortable. Go change in a private space.
Or like when kids are like dancing together at bar and bat mitzvahs, like if a boy dances too close to her, like I just think like maybe we could have more of a conversation about like consent and respecting
and
the people around you than like someone's anatomy.
And not to say that like a trans student couldn't ever do something that makes your child feel uncomfortable, but like what made you uncomfortable? Did you notice them looking at you? No. Did you notice, like, anytime your child is asked, just because your kid's uncomfortable doesn't mean that someone's done something wrong.
But even like, did you notice them looking at you? Like maybe they were looking at you because you're ugly.
But I'm saying like, even if you said another kid, like,
your personality obviously sucks, dick.
But I'm saying like, if say the trans student is not in the class and they come home and they're like, I was changing in the gym today and
like, I don't want to disparage this middle schooler, but like,
I don't even think this middle schooler truthfully did anything wrong. I think she came home and told her mom something made her uncomfortable.
I think she's probably a piece of shit too.
I don't even know if that at that age, I mean, there are piece of shit's kids, but she's the product of her environment. So she only has her limited world to inform her conversations. So maybe it did make her uncomfortable because her parents have been saying how uncomfortable it should make her.
Well, yeah,
so
she's
then
like,
she as a 12-year-old was like, I feel scared or I feel uncomfortable. But that's the responsibility of the parent, who clearly these people are irresponsible, to then say like, is there an issue? Even if there's no trans student in the class, all cisgendered girls in the class, if she comes home and says like, I was uncomfortable today changing. Okay, were you uncomfortable because you're self-conscious or because someone said something or because someone was looking at you? Like, where's the root of this? Just being uncomfortable doesn't mean something needs to change.
But also just going back to like the facts, like you are not stripping down to like the nubs when you're putting on your gym uniform. Like you are wearing underwear and probably a bra. And if you're taking off your underwear as a trans girl or a cis girl, you're a fucking creep. Why are you taking off your underwear?
Agreed.
No one should be taking off their underwear. And so if that's happening, that's a totally separate problem.
Totally,
do not take off your underwear.
Totally agree. I just don't ever want to advocate for a world where any child, boy, girl, trans, cis doesn't feel comfortable voicing their concern. That's where I'm like, okay, so she was uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean something needs to change for the other students in the class. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think the answer is telling kids, don't tell me you're uncomfortable because you're wearing underwear and camis. Because weird things can still happen to them in their underwear and camis. Like, have you ever watched To Catch a Predator? Like, not as a result of
camis.
Not as a result of trans students, as a result of creepy teachers and creepy uncles and cisgendered students. Like, I'm just saying, I don't think the knee-jerk reaction is then to turn to kids and be like, don't be uncomfortable. We told you it's fine.
I don't think you turn to them and say, don't be uncomfortable. I think you say like, yeah, it's a not as common situation for sure. But I don't think, unless there's something else that's making you uncomfortable.
That's what I'm saying. You have to ask a question.
Aside from just this person being there.
Correct.
It's like
when your kid comes home and says they're being bullied and then you find out there was really no bullying. They just didn't like what someone said to them. You can't go to the school with your pitchfork because like your kid got offended by someone. There's bullying and there's disagreements. So it's your job as the parent to suss out like what really happened. And if you're just taking their stance and showing up like ready to fight, you're doing them a disservice. And you're not being respectful of every other student in the school's needs. Trans aside.
It just seems like such a like.
This trans student has every right to be in that locker room and have just as awkward of a changing experience as every other middle school girl has. Like, she is allowed to be there. So unless something happened that actually made your child feel uncomfortable through warranted actions by that student or any other student, it's your job to say, I understand changing can be uncomfortable. Can we come up with some solutions that maybe would make you feel more comfortable? Like I'm angry with the parent for not
Yes.
handling this appropriately. But
Yes, the kid came home and was like, meh, meh, meh,
Like, you should
complaining
be able-
about whatever
yeah.
the fuck happened in their day. And then the parent is the one who's like taking it
to the Supreme Court.
to the Supreme Court. I
No.
mean, what in the fuck?
Yeah. But I feel bad for that kid.
The trans one?
Both kids. Like, she doesn't know any better. The trans kid is getting fucked.
I feel nothing for the kid who complained to their mom because, like, whatever. The trans kid is now, like, luckily not named, but, like,
Yeah.
everyone at the school, I'm sure, knows who
Knows.
they are. And, like, it's just more controversy when someone is just trying to figure out who the fuck they are.
For sure.
Like, go away.
Yeah. I also can't believe in 2025 we're still changing for gym.
Why?
I just feel like it's such a, like, old school thing to do. You know, like, I feel like they were changing for gym in a locker room in the 60s.
Well, you don't want to run around in your regular old clothes. If
I
you're
know, but it
sweating.
just feels so, like, I've made advancements in every other place.
It's because you Catholic school kids don't understand having gym every day.
No, we did. I had to change in middle school. I had to change every day.
Not in high school.
No, in high school I had it 2 semesters, thank God.
2 semesters of your entire high school experience.
Yeah, I hated it.
That's crazy.
Freshman year and senior year.
I hated gym in high school too. Like, I don't want to do this anymore.
It's dumb.
So yeah, that is just one
Crazy person in a sea of crazy people.
crazy person in a sea of crazy people. Do you want me to do a dilemma?
Yes, please.
Okay, so this person wrote in. She said her sister has 2 kids. She's married, whatever. And she's the person who wrote in, let's call her Lisa.
Okay.
And her sister is Jamie.
Those kind of go together. Okay.
You approve?
Yeah, that's fine. They could be sisters.
So Lisa's married and has a baby.
Okay.
And her older sister, Jamie, also married and has 2 kids. The kids are like 10 and 7.
Okay.
And Lisa's like, I'm very close with the kids because I watched them a lot. Like, they were like little when I was single and whatever. And so, like, I'm an extremely devoted aunt to these kids.
Okay.
And that's just a little important backstory. And recently, Jamie has, and by recently I mean in the last year, has told the family that her and her husband have decided to open their marriage.
Okay.
And they have sort of like an arrangement.
Jamie's the one who has 2 kids.
The older sister.
Got it.
Yep. And Lisa's writing in.
Okay. I'm back.
So the arrangement is Jamie has like a date night with someone. And just to clarify, because I was confused, it's not polyamory. Like, it's not
So
like,
you don't want a relationship with these people. You can just sleep with people.
yes.
Got it.
So they each have, like, Jamie and her husband each have a date night with someone else, like one night a week.
Where are they finding all these people?
I don't know, man.
Okay.
So they each have a date night with the other. And the part that Lisa's like, I can't understand this at all, is that they're very open about it with like the family, but also with their kids.
Okay.
So they're not keeping it from the kids who are old enough for sure to understand like
What this means.
what this means. And
Well, that's
Lisa,
therapy.
Lisa is like, and the kids will come talk to me. Like, they'll be like, Auntie Lisa, this is so weird. What should I do?
Yeah. That's a lot of emotional baggage for kids.
And she's like, why are you telling the kids about this? Like, they don't understand. And she's also like, this is forming their view on like what relationships are, what marriage looks like.
Commitment.
Yes, like she's like, this is like gonna have more of an effect than they think.
Are they idiots? Like, of course.
But Lisa's like, because she's the younger sister, she's like, my sister just keeps saying, like, you don't understand. You haven't been married that long. Like, Lisa has a 1-year-old. And so she's like, you know, you'll see relationships aren't just so cut and dry. And she's like, I understand it's not like the most black and white thing ever, but like, I don't think that she should be sharing this with the kids.
And I think, honestly, if they thought it was going to have an impact on the kids and they were excited about that or wanted that, that would be weird, but even better than them acting as though it won't.
That like the kids won't care at all.
Right. Like, at least if you say, like, you know what, I found that relationships can be really treacherous and I want my kids to understand that you can have non-traditional relationships. Like, a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, there are people in the world who want their kids to have that worldview. And while I don't agree, at least I understand that they deeply understand the effect it'll have on their kids, to kind of play it off like, no, like, it's like, that's too much for a kid to take on.
And also, Lisa says here that when she's brought it up to Jamie before, Jamie's like, this is actually a lot better. It's more open and honest than the two of us just like cheating on one another. Like, we still have a commitment to our family. We want to have like sort of the same setup that we've always had, but we're both just like interested in other people. And so why can't we just have both? Like, we would just be cheating on each other then. And that would end this marriage and also scar our children in a different way.
But the in-between, whilst I don't agree with it, would be having this arrangement and not sharing it with your children. Like, do you tell your kids every time where you're going?
You're saying that they should be doing that. Why do you have to tell your kids?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like either we do this or we cheat on each other. It's like, or you still, as adults, make this choice for yourselves and, like, keep your children from it. Like, I would argue that most parents are not sharing their sex life details with their kids.
So Lisa, the dilemma really is, I mean, this whole thing.
The whole thing is a dilemma.
But Lisa is kind of like, the kids are coming to her as like their trusted aunt and like second mom, saying, because they still come over, they sleep over, like she sees them all the time. And they're like asking her questions. And she's like, I don't know how I'm supposed to like defend this behavior or explain it to them when it doesn't make any fucking sense to me. But like, I don't want to disparage their parents. And she's like, and on the flip side, I'm like getting so angry with my sister for doing this. Like, it seems like such a selfish thing to do.
When you have kids.
When you have kids, that she's like, it's affecting my relationship with my sister. Like, I don't want to see her anymore.
I get that.
And that's the dilemma.
I mean, I think what you do with the kids is you just meet them where they are. Like, I know this feels scary and I'm sorry you feel that way. And I don't have any other answers because I'm not your mom and I'm not your dad, but this is always a safe space because
and I'm not your mom's date night boyfriend, Eduardo.
Right. I'm not Eduardo either. I think probably part of what feels scary to the kids is it feels so unstable. Like, a family unit is supposed to be like stabilizing, and then to find out that your parents are like not even consistently seeing the same person, like new people are popping in and out, and are they going to like this person more, and will that be the end of mom and dad? And like, that sort of uncertainty is what's throwing them. So just saying like, there's stability here at my house and I love you and I'm sorry this is scary and I agree, I wish this wasn't happening. I don't have any more answers, but I will always listen to you vent. Like, there's no limit on that. And I almost think you have to keep the peace with your sister so the kids still keep coming around. Because
that's what I was going to say, because you don't want that. You don't want the sister to be like,
cut you out.
And then the kids have nobody but you and your husband and Eduardo.
Is this a real person, Eduardo?
No, I just made that up. But it sounds like, you know, an extra boyfriend.
Yeah, I guess it could. And Stacy. I feel like Stacy would be sleeping with someone's husband.
Oh, okay.
Sorry to Stacy's. I mean, I've heard of people swinging and like opening their marriage, but it's definitely a secret situation. Like, their kids don't know about it.
So you're like, open marriage is more common than we think it is what you're saying?
I wouldn't say more common. I think my perception of open marriages were like they happened in the 70s and like not so much anymore. I think maybe now they happen.
Your perception is that they happened in the 70s, open marriages?
They had like swinging parties. There was like, haven't you ever heard that? Like, there were like a bowl where you'd put your keys and then like whoever's keys you grabbed was like who you went home with.
Okay. No, but also I think in the 70s it was like probably way less.
No, it was way more peace, love, open sex. Like it was like this like renaissance
Of open marriages?
Yes.
Is open marriages the same as swinging though?
No, swinging is your marriage is closed except for
Yes, this one night.
This is like a swinging party.
Yes, okay.
That's what I'm really thinking about. And so I didn't realize it was still happening. A couple of months ago, one of my friends was like, oh yeah, like there's people that I know of who swing. That blew my mind. So I've now realized maybe people are still doing it. And the whole like TikTok, mom talk, real, oh shit, what's the name of that show? Real Lives of Mormon Wives.
Yeah.
They had that whole scandal about
Secret
swinging.
Lives.
Secret Lives, But I just don't get it. Like if you want to sleep with other people, you should probably not be with your spouse. Like consistently. Like I understand there's complicated situations where people have like issues in their marriage, but if you are consistently seeking something outside your marriage, that is so okay. But then let's not call this a marriage anymore because it's something else.
I think what's hard is that in this situation, Lisa is like respectfully being like, listen, I get you're going through something, obviously.
It's very clear.
I still love you. I want to support you. You and your husband like can do this open marriage thing if you feel like that's helping, but like I don't think that you need to be sharing it with the kids. Why can't you just tell the kids that you're going to pottery class?
No, literally.
Like,
well, now they won't believe them. That's the problem. Like their damage is kind of done.
Now, but then Jamie's saying like respectfully, they're my kids. Thanks for your opinion.
Now you've got to just like toe the line until the kids are old enough to make their decisions. Because if this woman is clearly going through something and not super stable. And so if you piss her off, the kids can't come around.
Yeah, who knows what kind of big swing she might take.
Like she's willing to sleep with different people each week and tell her kids about it. So like something is not connecting.
And what are you supposed to say as the kid? Like, oh, good.
Great. Big score, Dad. Like, but what's weird is to decide to tell your kids about that when like I would assume you weren't telling your kids about your sex life before. And if that's what this is, just like opening the door to sex with other people, I'm not sure why you would ever think your kids should know that.
Yeah, it's the kids being looped in.
For sure. Do whatever you want as an adult. Like you can do whatever you want, but telling your kids about it is weird.
And I think for the girl who wrote in, Lisa, I think you just like continue to be like, your parents obviously love you very much. Like
for sure.
They are, doing some weird stuff, and sometimes people do weird stuff, but it doesn't mean that
they don't love you
or they're not there for you to support you. And if it feels weird, that's totally fine, and I encourage you to like keep talking about it and asking about it, and like because the more you like
bottle up
or like sit there and wonder as a kid, then like who knows where
your mind goes.
Yeah,
I definitely think someone should be putting money aside for therapy.
Yeah, a therapy fund would be good for sure.
I feel bad for the kids. But thank God they have an aunt who loves them, because this whole situation could be happening without any outside support.
And they'd just be staring at each other like, what's going on with mom and dad?
Yeah, I feel so bad. Most things in your adult life are not your kids' business.
Yeah.
There's very few things that adults are navigating that children should be privy to.
It's like when parents are like talking about getting divorced, usually you don't just like, unless someone finds out the other person's cheating or something, like usually it's like they've been, arguing for a long time, not happy, possibly going to therapy. Like you're not looping your kids in on all of that. That's supposed to be a secret. Is that like a view of the olden days?
The 90s. No, I just feel
like we're supposed to be like, we're not happy right now, but we're working on it.
I just think that creates such panic in kids. And like things that they learn how to feel as a child are habits they carry into adulthood. So like once you rip that rug out a little, you can't put it back. Not to say you don't want to present your kid with obstacles, but like obstacles that are digestible for a child.
But also like on the flip side, I didn't have parents who got divorced, but my aunt and uncle got divorced, and I think I was too young to like notice any sort of marital issues between the two of them. I thought it was just like, that's them. And then when I found out they were getting divorced, I was so upset.
Which is really sad to think about. I never had parents who were together, so I don't think I accurately understand the impact of divorce.
Like, I wasn't looped in to even know that it was a thing. Maybe if I had been a little looped in, then I wouldn't have been so.
Well, I think that was hard because you weren't living in the house. Like, you might have been more looped in if they were your parents and you were seeing them like 24/7.
But I was there a lot.
Maybe you just weren't that like perceptive of a child. Ever think about that?
Maybe.
Yeah, like my parents were never together. So.
I was just like, this is their relationship.
But
Everyone's relationship is different.
It's very impactful that first time that like something shatters as a child. It's very impactful. And so it's really important that you handle it with a lot of care and consideration.
Yeah, like I was sheltered from their like ups and downs in a marriage for so long. And then when I found out they were getting divorced, it was like,
what?
I was like, what the fuck? But then everyone was like, well, they haven't been happy for a long time, Rachel. It was like, oh, well, I'm sorry no one told me.
I just think there's no good way to handle that.
It was like, my life is a lie.
But I think there's no good way. Okay. We'll have to unpack that. But I think there's no good way to handle bad news for your kids. But I think you have to put some thought into it. And it doesn't feel like these people put much thought. Like, I could talk myself in or out of like telling your kids that you're having marital troubles, because like then if you work it out, they're confused. But if you don't work it out, at least they had a warning. So like those sort of things, I understand there's no rule book. But I am pretty sure if there was a rule book, it would 100% say don't tell your kids if you've opened your marriage.
Yes, I think for sure with like arguing, I think you just toe the line with that. Like,
and I think
sometimes people who love each other disagree about things and get in arguments, and it doesn't mean that it's the end of their relationship. And sometimes it does, and that's okay too. But like,
and I always think
I don't know all the fucking answers.
Let your kids see a little arguing. I also think it's creepy when people are like, my parents never fight. It's like, that's not possible.
Oh, well, yeah. Like when they just like close the door and whisper, yell at each other.
I'm so fucking pissed. But like, that is weird also. But again, never tell them about opening the marriage. If anyone at home is thinking about it, that's an inside thought.
If you have one takeaway from this conversation, it's that we don't know shit about fuck.
But that's something we know.
Do not tell your children that you're opening your marriage.
That's a good place to end it.
Yeah, think about that, and I'll call you later.
Call you later. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.